How is it going, everybody? It's your boy Jaehaerys here with the tier list today because honestly, it's because I'm too lazy to make a real video at the moment, and I just want something to get my channel started. Hopefully, get a couple views and use that as motivation to make another video, a more like a scripted video, a planned out video, not just something I'm just doing on a whim like this tier list. But this is something simple, easy, something I don't feel like I don't have to work too hard on. I can just kind of do it and have fun with it, and hopefully you guys will enjoy it and come back for another video. Also, another reason why I'm doing this is because the reason why I'm doing Game of Thrones tier list, or this tier list, is because, well, I do hope to develop this into a Game of Thrones channel, but as well, I was listening to, this was actually a couple weeks ago, because this is actually my second time filming this. The first time, for some reason, my microphone sounded weird. I didn't post it. It's been kind of on my mind ever since then. Sorry for giving you so much backstory, but it just is what it is. I'm sorry. But yeah, there was this video. It was an old white British lady. Not saying that to be rude, but it's just the facts. Or old, I should say older British white lady, whatever. And I didn't really like the way she did her tier list. I felt like almost everyone she ranked was wrong. Mainly because I'm a young American black man. So we're like literally opposite in every single way possible. She's British, I'm American. She's white, I'm black. She's old, I'm young. She's a woman, I'm a man. So we're gonna have difference of opinion on a lot of things. I felt a little disrespected by how she was doing some of the characters. But anyways, that's enough bullshitting at the beginning of the video. Let's go ahead and get into it. I don't know why. I swear when I see other people make these tier lists, there's not a bunch of ads. I don't know if there's something you're supposed to pay for to not have as many ads. But anyways, here are the rankings. I found this tier list on there. It's called Ranking GOT Characters, as you can see there at the bottom. Iron Throne, Hand of the King, Castle Black, Behead, Feats of White Walkers. I don't really love the name of the rankings, honestly, but I didn't feel like messing with it. I was going to go with the generic S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, D tier, or F tier, however you want to do it. But I went ahead and left alone. I kind of was wondering if Behead is worse than Feeding to the White Walkers. I guess Behead is a little bit better because you're beheaded and you're just gone. White Walkers, we don't really know how things work as far as their consciousness, if they remember their previous life or anything like that. So we don't really know. So that could be worse if you have to almost like if you ever seen Attack on Titan, the Titans they kind of don't remember their previous life, but it's a horrible existence. All they're thinking is to eat humans because once they eat a human that is a Titan shifter, then they can turn back into a human and they can turn to a Titan at will. So they don't want to be stuck in that Titan stage. So if it's something like that with White Walkers, then that would be kind of miserable because you'll just be going around forever unless someone kills you, which can only be done with like Valyrian steel or whatever we saw on the show. Don't remember all the ways to kill a White Walker, but there were several, obviously. But anyways, let's get into it. I know I've been bullshitting a little bit too much. Olenna Tyrell is the first one we have on the list. I don't know why they have her listed first on here, but that's neither here nor there. I like Olenna a lot. The scenes with her dialogue scenes were great. She's one of the few people to be able to actually mentally and verbally spar with Tywin. Tywin did get the better of her at the end of it, but she's one of the few people who could actually go back and forth with him and not get completely embarrassed. So for that, I'm going to put her in A. I would put her a little bit higher if she was there a little bit longer. She obviously has a huge impact on the show. Marjorie being her granddaughter, and what Cersei does, blowing up the Sept of Baelor to kill to basically wipe off that entire family. Olenna wasn't there, obviously, but she has a lot of great scenes. I would put her higher if she was in the show a little bit longer. Missandei, I'm gonna put Missandei in A tier as well. I was gonna put her in B tier, but I think she's a really good character. She really helps Daenerys out. She knows all these languages. She's just a sweet girl. I kind of hate that she had to die, but it made sense for the story for her to die. And mainly the reason I'm putting her in A over B is because the actress who played her is hot. Jaqen Hagar. I'm gonna put Jaqen in B. I think he's very interesting, very mysterious character. He was kind of a douchebag though. Whenever Arya got to the House of Black and White, which I kind of understand. He was kind of trying to train her or whatever, but I just wasn't a fan of that part of his arc. Like everything before that, when he was in Westeros, I loved his arc in Westeros. But so as far as the House of Black and White, I wasn't really a fan. We're gonna get our first S tier character here. It's Jaime Lannister. I mean, if you saw the show, I don't know really what else to say. The only thing that messed up his character was at the very end when he went back to die with Cersei, which I don't mind him dying alongside Cersei. I just hate the way it was done. Obviously, we saw Tyrion go there, and it wasn't. They could have just like moved a couple feet to the left or whatever, and they would have lived. That was kind of trash. I kind of hate, he kind of left Brienne hanging. But I'm still gonna put him in S. I'm not gonna allow that to um, sway me too much because for the most part, his character was amazing. Catelyn Stark. I'm personally not a fan of Catelyn, but she does push the story forward. A lot of things that she does early in the story kind of move the story forward. So I'm gonna put her in B tier for that regard. She did love her children. I'll give her credit for that, but I just feel like she indirectly got her entire family wiped off the face of the earth. I mean, obviously they didn't all get wiped off the face of the earth. It was really just Ned, Robb, and Rickon who ended up dying when it was all said and done. But she's a huge reason why everything was in shambles. She's the reason why Jon went to the wall. She's the reason why Ned got killed by basically telling Littlefinger, racing him to King's Landing, getting there first, and telling Littlefinger everything, forcing Ned to trust Littlefinger, and that eventually ended up getting him killed. I don't like that. So I mean, as far as like her driving the story, I had to put her at least B. I guess it's not B, it's Castle Black tier or whatever. Which I don't really like that. I don't like B being Castle Black. Now I'm thinking about it, I really want to change that because I feel like B should be like average. Like Castle Black kind of sucks, but whatever. It's a little too late for that. Hodor S tier. I mean, we don't need to say much about Hodor. I'm just gonna leave that there. If you have a problem with it, then it's a personal issue. Grey Worm is cool. I mean, the Unsullied are kind of just. I like the concept of the Unsullied just in general. But Grey Worm doesn't really have much of a personality. Doesn't really do much other than being the commander of Unsullied. So I'm going to give him that spot just because he's the commander of the Unsullied. Bronn, I'm gonna put in A because his and Tyrion's relationship was great. Even though I like him and Jaime's relationship a little bit. I know a lot of people hate when they went to Dorne, and it was kind of goofy. It was kind of dumb, especially because the mission ended up basically being a failure. I mean, they did get Marcella, but she died before she ever got to Westeros. So, it's kind of dumb. But I like Bronn. He's a really witty character, and I think he has some great scenes. Cersei, I'm gonna put in A tier. The last couple seasons, she didn't really do much, but she was great in the beginning. Her relationship with Robert was complicated. Obviously, they obviously didn't have much love for each other, but the fact that it put her in a power situation, and she was queen. She was queen of Westeros for 16, 17 years or however long it was, and then obviously we just see her character get torn down bit by bit. Obviously, she kind of set up Robert to die, but then obviously with all of her children dying, which Maggie the Frog told her would happen, you kind of see her fall into this depression, and unfortunately, I feel like they just didn't know what to do with her after that. But I'm not gonna let that sway me from saying she's an A tier character. I'm gonna put Ygritte. I feel like I can't put Ygritte next to Cersei, just for the simple fact that she wasn't there long enough. So I'm gonna put Ygritte in B tier. I'm actually gonna move Grey Worm down to C. I'm gonna move Grey Worm down to C because I feel like she's a lot better character than Grey Worm. I have to give her more credit than that. She showed Jon how to love, gave him his first piece of ass. I gotta love her for that. She was just a great character. She showed Jon basically the world outside of being the son of a lord. Kind of showed him what the real world was kind of like. Basically helped him grow up in that way. And when he left, she couldn't bring herself to kill him because she could have killed him because she's supposedly like one of the best archers the wildlings have. She chose to only hurt him because he hurt her. looking ass. But yeah, Egret, I'm gonna have to put in B. Tormund, I'm gonna put Tormund right next to Egret. Honestly, a lot of they're the main two wildlings that you care about. Obviously, we have Mance Raider as well. He just did. I feel like he doesn't have as much of an impact as on Jon, which is the main impact of any of the wildlings. The impact they have on Jon. I feel like he doesn't have the impact on them that Tormund and Egret have. Tormund and Jon are basically going to be besties now. In what is a show called Snow? They're going to be beyond the wall. They're going to be besties. He's great. He's a witty character. He kind of reminds me of Braun in that way, except for he is, in the North, the true North. I kind of like him. No, I'm not gonna put him over. I'm not gonna put him up there with Braun. Sorry. Tyrion is easily S tier, the best character in the show. I think hands down. I don't really think there's much argument against Tyrion being the best character in the show. Obviously, he was doing some dumb shit at the end, but everyone was doing dumb shit in the end, so I can't really use that to say that Tyrion should be anything below the S tier. I mean, he drinks and he knows things. My bad, that's Iron Throne tier, not S tier. Jorah's cool. Put him in Castle Black for now. Kind of want to behead him. Yeah, I don't like these rankings, but whatever. Kind of want to behead him. Just because he did betray Daenerys, but I know he didn't have the relationship at the time that he ended up having with her later on. I understand where he was coming from. I do understand where he was coming from. He just wanted to go home, like he said, and he fucked up. And unfortunately, Ned Stark is a no BS type of guy, so he was gonna kill him, and then he left, and can't blame him for wanting to go home. Not too much, at least. Not too much. Not too much on Jorah now. Not too much on Jorah. Davos is easily A tier. One of the few genuinely good people in the show, from start to finish. Davos is just that guy. Davos is probably outside of maybe Tormund, and I mean maybe Braun, and I'll probably even end up saying some more people later on down this list. Maybe not. Davos is the guy you want to have a drink with. Davos is the guy you want to have around you a lot because he gives great counsel. He's pure-hearted. And I just, I like Davos. I think he's a good man, just in general. Arya's great. I like Arya's arc a lot, actually. She says that she never wants, she doesn't want to be a lady. She doesn't want to. She wants to be more of a warrior. She doesn't want to have children. She doesn't want to do all that. She kind of wants to be like a boy in that society. I mean, and obviously in our society, it's 2023. Women can do whatever they want. Women empowerment. I know I said that in a mocking tone, but I truly believe it, though. I understand that wanting to pave your own way, wanting to pave your own path, not wanting to just follow with tradition, what everyone else is doing. She sees Sansa Sansa could be a lady, whatever. She can do whatever she wants. She can have all these kids, but I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna fight. I'm gonna go on adventures, and she does that. She becomes an assassin. She's probably the strongest person in the show at the end. I mean, she no diffed Brienne, and Brienne. We saw what Brienne did. Brienne fought the Hound. Brienne beat the Hound, and the Hound is as compared to the Mountain, obviously. The Mountain is probably a bit stronger, but I think they're relative at least. So Arya's above Mountain level, not in the power scaling sense, but in the show sense. She's just above him. I don't think there's anybody she couldn't beat. She could have beat Oberyn. She could have beat Oberyn. She could have beat. I don't know. See, we never really get to see Jaime in his prime. We don't really get to see Jaime, really have big fights. I think if I'm thinking of the only fight he really had, was against Ned Stark, and that was, interrupted by his fucking, whatever you want to call him, his lackey, just stabbing Ned in the knee with the spear. So we didn't really get to see the full extent of Jaime in his prime. Ramsay is a good character. He is a piece of shit through and through. There's no question about that. But I mean, as far as character wise, he's a great villain. I'm gonna put him in A. I was gonna put him in or I'm gonna put him in Hand of the King. I was gonna put him in Castle Black, but he's a really great villain. The way what he does to Theon is heartbreaking. I hated Theon, before that because obviously what he did and destroyed Winterfell and left House Stark in shambles. But he made me feel bad for Theon. The way he was doing him, cutting his dick off, just torturing him, making him feel less of a man. I actually started feeling bad for him. That's how much of a piece of shit Ramsay is. I feel like Theon was probably the character I hated most at that time, and he just replaced him with such ease. Stannis the Manus, I mean, don't put him anywhere else other than the Iron Throne. I mean, it is his by rights, if we're being completely honest. The only thing he died before the show got completely terrible and fell off a cliff, so he can't be tainted by that. But the only reason that I wouldn't put him in Iron Throne, which I am, but if I weren't going to, it because he agreed to burn Shireen. That was a shitty thing to do. I mean, you burned your daughter alive, and it shit didn't even work. Rickon, I mean, I'm just gonna put him next to Grey Worm. Neither one of them have personality. Viserys was a douchebag. He was a piece of shit. But I mean, if you were in Viserys' shoes, I feel like most people would be a piece of shit. His he thought he was. I guess he wasn't really in line. He was probably like fourth, third in succession to the Iron Throne. Because obviously his father was the king, and Rhaegar was his older brother, and then it would have gone to his son Aegon first, and then Viserys would have been in line. So yeah, he would have been third in line to the Iron Throne. That's what he grew up believing, and then it was all taken away from him. He's left to take care of his sister. They call him the Beggar King because he was, he had to beg. He had to give up everything they had just for a place to stay and something to eat. I mean, and I think he was like 8 whenever all this started. So, it's a pretty messed up situation to be in. I don't know too many people that would be a decent human being after going through all that. To be quite honest, I can't say that I would have been in that situation. Give me just a second. I'm gonna turn this light on because it's dark in here now. The sun was beaming through before, almost too much before, but now let me turn this light on. It's gonna take me 5 seconds. And I would definitely have just paused the video and went from there, but whatever. Bran. I'm gonna put Bran in B tier or whatever you want to call it. Castle Black. Bran. I mean, he's King Bran the Broken. Bring the Bran the Busted Up. Bran the Willy Legs No Feely. He is king of Westeros. But he doesn't really. I mean, he does a lot. Obviously, he reveals Jon's secret to everyone. My main problem with Bran is that he kind of ceased being a character after he became the three-eyed Raven. He was just kind of like a vessel for the three-eyed Raven or three-eyed Crow, whatever they want to call it. He's kind of just a vessel for that. Before he was younger, climbing all around, and even when he first woke up, he still had hope. Whenever he was getting there, he was hoping that the three-eyed Crow would be able to help him walk again. And it's like when he found out he would never walk again, he kind of just was no one, and he doesn't want anything. Dario, I mean, Dario's not bad. He's cool. I like how we first met him. Basically, he was with those other two guys, and they were like, yeah, no, we don't want to help Daenerys out. And he's like, all right, yeah, that's fine. Y'all don't have to. And he just murders them. That's cool. That's really the reason why he's there. And I mean, I guess he was the second person to sleep with Daenerys. Khal Drogo's the GOAT. He hit it. Khal Drogo hit it first. But I have to give him credit for that. She's one of the baddest bitches in the realm, and he bagged her. So I'll give him credit for that. Ned Stark is S tier. R.I.P. Lord Eddard Stark. I mean, what else can I say about it? He's an honorable guy. I don't think like in real life I would enjoy his company as much as Davos, because Davos is more down to earth. I feel like Ned kind of has more like a holier than thou type of personality, and he would just look down on me. Not like he would like treat me bad, but I just feel like I wouldn't enjoy his company as much. When he was younger, he may have been fun because him and Robert were best friends, and Robert is more like a party guy. So for Robert to have enjoyed his company, I feel like he had more of a wild side to him when he was younger. But when we meet him, he's just more serious. I feel like it doesn't seem like he knows really how to have fun. Honestly, I don't feel like we would have fun. I feel like we would not get in trouble. Which, I mean, it's great not getting in trouble, but we wouldn't like. He wouldn't even risk it, and it just. But as far as like a character in the show, he obviously his death is what sets up a lot of things. In the show, I feel like he's a good father to his children. You can see as in the way John acts and the way Rob acts, and he kind of lets Arya be her. Bran, Arya, and Rickon are all children, so they kind of still have childish personalities. Um, but Rob and John are really dutiful. Um, they play their role, and they just try to do what's right at the end of the day, and that's because Ned Stark was a great father figure. Sansa's like whatever. She's a teenage girl. Like, I mean, if you ever met a teenage girl, like I don't really know if I need to further explain that. Joffrey's also S tier. Probably one of the best like pure villains, um, in all of fiction. If we're being honest, in all of television. His death gave me so much satisfaction. I'm grateful that I wasn't spoiled before I watched the show and I saw that episode. It was great because you guys will watch him like suffer like badly because he's a huge reason why Ned Stark died. He just treated Sansa like absolute dog shit for absolutely no reason. I mean, he treated everybody like that. He believed everyone was below him. He knew he was, first. He knew he would be king one day. It happened way sooner than it should have. I mean, he's a bastard. Like, let's be honest. I would feed Tommen to the White Walkers. I'm sorry. I know he's a kind kid, but I mean, grow a backbone. He's just such a pussy. I can't stand him. I'll behead him. I'll put him with Rickon. I'm not gonna do him that bad. I don't know if I'll put anybody down there. You know what? Since I don't know if I'm gonna put anybody down there, it's gonna be him. You're done. Put Khal Drogo in B tier. If he would have lived longer than the first season, he'd probably be A tier. I did really like his character. I did really enjoy his character. He was he's just your basic Chad. Like, what's there not to like? Robb Stark is S. I'm going to actually put him in front just to make sure that y'all know he's the best character in the show. He was the young wolf. Literally never lost a battle. He was killed unceremoniously. He was killed in one of the worst ways possible. He had guest right. It was a wedding. It was supposed to be a celebration, and he was just cut down for, I mean, I was going to say for absolutely no reason. He did it for love, though. He's young. He didn't want to marry a Frey girl. He found a girl that he really liked, and he married her. Honestly, I mean, he should have just been like, yeah, I don't care. I'm king in the north. I'm married already, but I'll marry your daughter as well because I'm a king. Who's going to tell me not to? And, like, I know it's like mainly the faith of the seven thing, like, that you can't be polygamous or whatever, but they keep the old gods in the north. So, and he doesn't really care what Catelyn says. Like, Catelyn obviously would have had something to say about it, but fuck Catelyn. For being completely honest. Brienne. Gonna put Brienne in A tier. She became Lord Commander, right? I think she was Lord Commander of the Kingsguard. By the end of it, I really like her arc just in general. She's really loyal. She did everything she could to try to save Sansa and Arya because she promised she would. She promised Catelyn she would. It didn't matter that Catelyn died. She was still honor bound to do that, and she did it. I mean, she did it. I guess in a way. I mean, they didn't die. Whatever. Yara's cool. I don't Really like, what she did when she first saw Theon again. It was kind of gross and creepy. But other than that, I mean, she's really Balon's true heir, if we're being completely honest. Gendry's cool. Um, I don't like that him and Arya had sex. I just don't like that. But Gendry's cool. The Hound is an A tier. Put him right next to Brienne. They belong together. Honestly, no, I like the Hound though. The Hound is he's good. He's another one of those witty characters. He kind of just comes off when you first meet him. He comes off as just like a brute and just like, I mean, he's a dog. Like that's on their sigil as a dog. He obeyed Joffrey's every command until obviously he was encountered with Wildfire. But he's like a literal dog, and I think it's kind of cool. But you kind of see the depth of his character later on in the story. He has his own motivations in a way, and he said fuck the king, fuck him. I feel like it'd be disrespectful to put John anywhere but S tier. I'm really trying to shake season 8 out of my mind because if I didn't, John would be in like B tier. Like the whole "she's my queen, I don't want it," all that bullshit was exhausting. But John's been through a lot and he's persevered. Um, I was gonna say he didn't let it change him, but I mean it did change him in mostly a positive way. Like I said, he's honor bound, he's dutiful, he does what he thinks is right. Even when that is killing his own queen, and he probably thought he would die for it. Probably thought he would die with the Unsullied, um, and obviously her having a dragon. He probably thought he would die for killing Daenerys, and he did it anyway because he knew that if he didn't, then she was just going to become more and more of a tyrant, and it would just be worse for the rest of the world. And I mean, what bigger sacrifice can you make is other than your life for the realm? He's the true protector of the realm. I don't. I know in the show he's like the rightful king. Also, I don't really like that theory for the books, but he is the rightful king. Um, I guess yeah. Stannis is dead. So if we're going by the Targaryen, I feel like once the throne is taken by conquest, all that like bloodline shit is kind of out the window. So I guess like they legitimize Gendry, right? So I mean, I feel like technically Gendry should be king, but whatever. I already put Marjorie in B, mainly just because she's hot. I'm not even gonna lie. Same thing with Melisandre. I mean, she's kind of hot. She does some fucked up shit. She burned Shireen. I didn't like that at all, but she's hot. Whenever she's not in her old lady form or whatever. Daenerys is also hot. Gonna put her in S tier again. Same thing with Jon Snow. Be kind of disrespectful. She's one of the like three main characters. I would say her, Jon Snow, and Tyrion are like the main characters of the show. She's one of the main characters. She's the mother of dragons, the breaker of chains, all the other stuff. I mean, she does a lot of great stuff early in the show. Didn't like the way it all ended for her. I feel like I don't hate the whole Mad Queen thing and John having to kill her. I just feel like it was a poor setup. I feel like it wasn't set up properly. If it was done correctly, I would have no gripes with it. So, but again, I'm trying not to let season 8 sway me too much on these things. Robert's S tier too. I mean, God's always strong. Then do I need to say anything else? Probably not, right? Sam is Sam. I mean, he's a piece of shit. Not a piece of shit. He's a coward. He's a pussy. But he did kill a White Walker, which I don't think anyone had ever done. Or at least in known history, or at least from the time we see in the show, he was the first to do it. Cured Grayscale, I think he was the first to do that as well. He's also John's bestie. Shay is a whore. Yeah, behead Shay because she should have been beheaded. Sansa B. Sansa's kind of a cunt. I mean, if we're being completely honest, but Sophie Turner's hot, so we'll keep her there. She didn't really. What was her name? I can't remember her name. I want to say Alyssa, but I know it wasn't Alyssa. She was from Volantis, so something Valentine or SOC or whatever. She just didn't really do much, but she was hot. I would put her in B, but just looking at everybody else and be like, she just doesn't belong there. Or Castle Black, she doesn't belong there. Theon, go to A. Theon probably had the best arc in the show, coming from basically being they say a hostage, but he was a ward. But I guess if it came down to the Balon really was really trying to do some bullshit and fuck up, like Theon would have been a hostage in that situation. But Ned treated him great. He always kind of felt like lesser than the Starks. Obviously, I feel like he felt like he was below Robb, but he was above Jon because at least he wasn't a bastard. Like at least he has an actual like last name, and the Greyjoys are like technically like a great house or whatever. So he felt the pride from that, but he also felt like he wasn't a Stark, so he felt some way about that because he wasn't a Stark. And that kind of that was used against him whenever it came to him betraying Robb because his dad made him feel bad about it, and they made him feel less than a man. So he went and did what he did, destroyed Winterfell, basically left House Stark in shambles, betrayed Robb like in the worst way possible, like a betrayal on levels that have never been seen. But then he did what he could. He pretended to kill Bran and Rickon, but he did what he could to help out in the war. What do they call it? The war for life, basically. I'm sorry, I'm blanking out on things right now. But yeah, he he helped a lot. He helped in the Long Night. He sacrificed himself in the Long Night. So I feel like he redeemed himself. And I don't know if he even thought he could redeem himself at that point, but he did what he could. Tywin is S tier, also a great villain, just like Joffrey, except he's more, what's the word I'm looking for? I know they always say Machiavellian or whatever. It's not the word I was looking for, but whatever. He's more. It makes more sense. His actions make sense. His actions are somewhat justified. Obviously, the Red Wedding was horrible, but what he say, like, it's better to kill 100 men at dinner than, or yeah, whatever it was, to let like 10,000 people die in war. I don't know. I know I butchered that quote, but it's a great quote. Ever since his introduction with Jaime, he was skinning the deer or whatever, which is symbolism. Um, everything he does is great. He has great dialogue, like I mentioned earlier, the scene with him and Olenna. It's a great dialogue scene. He has great dialogue scene with Joffrey, basically telling him like you're a bitch, and like you don't really run anything around here. Like I really run shit. You may sit the Iron Throne and have the king. You know what I'm saying? Have the king title, but like, you're my bitch. Varys was great. Also, I'm gonna put Varys in A as well. Um, Varys is, he's the spy master. He's the spider. He sets up a lot of things in the show. He knows all this. He knows everybody's secrets. He ended up getting burned, which was kind of dumb. But again, I'm not gonna hold that against anybody. He probably shouldn't have immediately. Like he just didn't. The way he went about betraying Daenerys was just seemed like it was out of character for him. He was more calculated than that before. But again, I'm not gonna hold that against him. Littlefinger is just a better Varys, honestly. I mean, he's the same thing. He has these secrets, and he knows everybody else's secrets, but he just utilizes them better. I think. Well, I'm referring to in the books. I feel like he utilized them better. Obviously, he got killed before Varys. He again he got done dirty. I feel like in character, I feel like they had to basically like jump through hoops to get him to die. Basically, I feel like there's no way in hell Sansa and Arya are outsmarting him, but it is what it is. I'll feed Walder to the White Walkers because fuck Walder Frey. Same with Roose Bolton, just cause like he doesn't belong. He doesn't belong here. Fuck Roose Bolton. Other than the fact that he had a son who's kind of a badass, like I don't really care for him at all. It's crazy. I have more. Well, I guess the Council Black is the heaviest tier, and then S tier after that, and then or Iron Throne, and then Hand of the King. This list is very top heavy. I found another one that was like 200 and something characters. I feel like if I did that one, it would be less top heavy. But I feel like this being as top heavy it is, just kind of goes to show how great the show was. The greatest show that ever was. at one point, and it could have been the greatest show to ever be. But they messed it up. I don't want to get too much into it because I might get angry. But it was a great show. From season 1 to season 4, it may be the greatest thing ever to be put on television. I haven't seen The Wire. I've heard that's up there. I haven't seen The Sopranos. I heard that's also up there. But Game of Thrones is probably one of the is one of the greatest shows of all time, and probably should have been the greatest show of all time. I get upset thinking about it, honestly. I may do a House of the Dragon one. There's just significantly less characters, so I feel like it wouldn't be as long. But I do actually want to do a Game of Thrones channel. Like, there's a bunch of stuff I want to do. Like halfway through this, I was kind of thinking like maybe I could just do like a whole tier list channel, just do a bunch of tier lists here, 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 and here. But the video I mentioned in the beginning is a video about Magor. So I'm like I'm already doing this. Do a Magor video. Let me just make this a Game of Thrones channel. The name Jaehaerys Snow is obviously Game of Thrones inspired. I may explain, why I chose that name exactly at a later date. I feel like it's kind of obvious if you kind of are more into the Song of Ice and Fire verse. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, do all the good stuff for me, like it, subscribe to me, leave a comment, share it with someone, or just enjoy it to yourself, laugh at it if you think I'm goofy, if you think my list sucks. Let me know where you would put people if this was your own list, or just upload a video and tag me in it. I'll watch it. I don't mind. I like watching a Song of Ice and Fire and just Game of Thrones content in general. Yeah, that's it for this video. Hot D character list coming soon.